The skill of bracing when performing compound movements, particularly our squats and deadlifts, I don't think can be underestimated too much. And this is something I've probably neglected in my own training recently too much. And it's something I'm going to be planning on improving over the coming period of training. So for example, I get a lot out of wearing a belt, and it's almost like a neurological feedback thing or proprioceptive feedback thing where if I push into the belt, I feel like I get a really strong brace, but as soon as I remove that belt, it's almost like I lose the skill of actual bracing. And that's something that I'm going to actually start practicing more in the coming training block. So once I finish my current strength phase, I'm going to go back to training with squats, deadlifts, no belt at all. And I'm just going to work really hard on the bracing aspect of my training, particularly on those lifts. So how I'm going to do this, I plan on doing my ab work at the start of the training session, and I'm going to probably implement a lot more ab bracing type movements. So that's going to be things like ab wheel, so planks, dead bugs, those kind of movements where we're looking to resist movement more so than perform a movement, such as like sit-ups where we're actually going through spinal flexion, whereas this we're trying to resist any extra movement and working just on that brace position. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to implement also some breathing drills where I'm pushing my abs into, say, a kettlebell where I'm laying on my back. I think Brian Elsrue do this in some of his videos where, simply laying on your back, knees bent, and you've got a kettlebell sitting on your stomach and you're practicing sort of breathing into it and pushing it away from you. So there's a couple of drills there that I'm going to implement more of. And the other thing that I'm going to try and work on is almost a little bit of desensitization of my lower back, because I find that if I train, I train early in the mornings just because that's the best time for me based off work hours. And I find my back is either a lot stiffer, but also a lot more sensitive to movement. So I'm going to have to try and work through perhaps these drills to hopefully help desensitize it a little bit, but work on just some really low level movement in different positions to try and desensitize it to that loaded position that I get into on, say, a squat. It doesn't bother me so much on a deadlift, it's more so a squat movement. So I'm going to have to try and work on desensitization a little bit in that position. But as I said, bracing I don't think can be understated, because I've definitely neglected it for too long, and I've just been using a belt to pretty much band-aid it a little bit, because when I wear a belt I basically get no pain, or I wouldn't even call it pain, it's more like discomfort, but I basically get no discomfort at all when I'm wearing a belt. So I'm going to try and remove that, do some desensitization work and practice the bracing to get better at that, and hopefully that'll transfer a little bit. And if it doesn't, at least I'm going to have a better feedback loop with my ability to brace and hopefully get myself into better positions and not have to become so reliant on a belt in my training. If you have any questions, any feedback, or would like to discuss this further, please put it in the comments below. I'd love to chat about it and see what your thoughts are on this topic, and I'll see you in that next video.